So the first sound is this bass, and here's what this sounds like. And this bass, I'm using my sync one-shot kit for this, and I'm using the Nation bass, as you can see right here. I'm not doing too much to the one-shot, but I am putting it into the mixer and I'm making the bass mono, as you can see on the top left. This, I'm actually pitching the bass up 3 semitones within the MIDI, and I'm going to explain that why at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. The next sound, which is the vocals. So these vocals are from this vocal pack right here. It's called Nora, and this is from AJ Was Here. This is a bunch of really cool like vocal phrases he uses, and I highly recommend this kit to everyone, so I'm gonna leave this down in the description, so feel free to check this out. But for the vocals, I'm using 2 separate chops. So we have this one, which is Don't Leave, Just Don't Leave, as you can see right here. And then the next one is right here, and I'm using this vocal loop, which is right up here. So I'm taking both of these vocal chops and I'm just kind of repositioning them and like time stretching them so it sounds better within the sample. And then I'm using a flanger BL20, a decimor, and then I have an EQ, taking out some of the high mids. And then from there, I'm just lowering down the volume, and that's the vocals. This was the main part of the sample because this was a preview for the kit, and there's that. So the next sound is the chords, which sound like this. These chords, I'm using Diva, and I'm using the HS Butterscotch preset. I think the one thing I am doing is I'm turning down the envelope, and then I have the cutoff set, so it's just a little bit softer. And then what I'm doing is I'm turning down the release for both the filter and the ADSR stuff. From here, I'm turning off all the effects, and then I have this EQ, which is taking out some of the highs and then some of the lows as well. For the chords, I wanted these to be really bouncy since I don't have any percussion going on, so I wanted these to kind of be like the driving force between, how bouncy the sample is and just how like dynamic it is. And one more thing I want to talk about the chords is that there's a lot of silence in between each chord. The next sound is this ear candy, which sounds like this. And this ear candy is in combination with all these other textures, so let me play them all at once. And these textures come from my Sync one-shot kit and my Fantasia 1 kit. So let's just break down each one. So this one is from my Sync one-shot kit. As you can see, we can go to our ear candy folder, and now we have the berry ear candy, as you can see right here. And then I have this texture, which is also from the Sync one-shot kit. This one is the Scream 64 sound, which is right here. And then I have another one, which I think is the same ear candy I mentioned before, the Berry 3 ear candy. And then this one right here is the Look ear candy. So if we go to the ear candy folder, we can see that it is right here. And then I think the last one is this one, which is this sound from my Fantasia 1 kit. If we go to sounds, C minor sounds, and then go to 20, it's this sound right here. So I'm taking all of these and I'm kind of time stretching them and pitching them so that it fits better within the sample. And then I have an EQ, which is taking out some low end, some low mids, and some of the mid range. And then we have this EQ taking out some of the mid range as well and some of the highs. And then last but not least, we have the smooth. And this smooth is a free patcher preset. which kind of emulates the Soothe 2 plugin. And well, it's just another EQ kind of. So the next sound is this ARP. And this ARP, I'm using Diva. I'm using the Planet Uranus preset, as you can see here. And I think what I'm doing here is I'm turning down the cutoff, and I turn down some of the release as well as the plate reverb. And then I'm messing with the delay time settings here so that it kind of plays in a 16-note fashion. And then I put this to a new mixer track, and this one is using a tau filter. And then I have a pancake, which is panning the sound left and right. That's all the processing for the ARP, so we can move on to this lead, which happens in the second section. And here's what this sounds like. For this lead, I am using Diva once again, and I'm using this fancy lead preset. And then I'm adjusting some of the effect settings here so it sounds better within the sample. From here, I have an EQ, which is taking out some low end, and then that's the processing there. But on some more technical aspects, I definitely want to talk about how I made this very simple. So the main reason why I made this simple was because of these vocals right here, since this was a preview for my boy AJ Was Here. And this was a really simple synth sample I did, and as you can hear, there's a lot of silence. And there's silence everywhere. It like kind of hits you in one part, and then it drops out for a little bit, and then it comes back in again, especially when you hear this within the second part of the sample right here. And that's just a really cool way for you to make your samples sound a lot more appealing, because silence is your best friend. I've been experimenting with it a lot more recently. Let me talk about the reason why I have the bass MIDI pitched up 3 semitones, as you can see within this mixer track here. So all of the melodic stuff besides the bass is getting routed to this send track, and this send track has a sound shifter, and this sound shifter is getting pitched up 3 semitones. So I'm going into the bass and I'm pitching up the MIDI. Since this is the only sound that's not getting routed to this track, I'm just going to pitch this up 3 semitones. Since I've already done this, we can bring this back down. But the reason why I do this is because lately I haven't been using sound shifter on the master, because each pitch shifting plugin, you'll probably notice a drop in quality. And this drop in quality can be super present within the bass. So let me show you an A and B test with sound shifter on the master when it comes to the bass. So let's hear it without it. And now let's hear it with sound shifter. As you can hear, there's a lot of like rumbliness going on within the bass. And since my samples are so reliant on the bass, right, it's kind of important to make sure that my basses have the highest quality possible. So what I'm doing is I'm just selecting everything besides the bass within the mixer track, and I'm going to right click this, and I'm going to click on route to this track only. And then what I'm doing is I'm just putting a sound shifter here and then pitching up the bass for the MIDI here. And when you export stems, you're automatically going to have a no bass section since everything is getting routed to here. So that's something you also might want to consider as well. But in my mixer tracks, always label if your bass is getting pitched up 3 semitones, so that way it's easier for a producer to know what you're doing to the sample exactly. So that's some producer tips for you guys. But I think with all of that being said, this is the sample. Shout out to AJ Was Here for sending me this kit. I'll leave his channel, his Instagram, and his kit in the description. So hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching.